If you're following the Marilyn Manson case, you know he's getting accused of many things by many people. Now, the thing is, when you see stuff like this, it obviously shows that people use Marilyn Manson as a way to say, hey, this bad thing happened to me. It was Marilyn Manson's fault. Also, I'm sure many of you know that 19 women or 17 women have accused Marilyn Manson of abuse. Now, the thing is, every time anybody alleges anything remotely, they get on that list. Best example, Phoebe Bridgers, who said she heard at a party at Marilyn Manson's house, which she might not have even been at, that he had an R word room. So she goes right on the list. People hear that, and then they think, oh my God, look how many people are accusing Marilyn. Well, let's add Corey to that list. Corey Feldman says Marilyn Manson sabotaged his 2017 tour exclusive. Marilyn Manson had the time, the energy, the know-how to sabotage, of all people, Corey Feldman's 2017 tour. And why? What's the motive? What does Marilyn Manson get out of that? I mean, supposedly, no one would even know he did it. This is just what Marilyn Manson does for fun? Seems like some fantastic comedy here. He accuses Marilyn Manson of planting backup singers who were purposely singing off key and playing wrong parts. So Marilyn Manson somehow convinced these backup singers who were getting paid to just sing off key. Wouldn't that hurt their reputation also? By the way, this is from Concise Sound. Not sure how it actually has to do with music, so I wouldn't really say there's a great site here. I wouldn't donate money like they're asking for on the top there. In the third part of our interview with Corey Feldman, the musician and former child star tells us he believes that Marilyn Manson personally sabotaged his 2017 tour. So not only did Marilyn Manson somehow do it, it was personally Marilyn Manson who took his time to do it. Check out his thoughts on the 35th anniversary of The Lost Boys here and reflections on his new box set, Love Left 2.1 here. Gotta say, what an original sounding box set. Love Left. How interesting. The Heavenly Tour was definitely the exact opposite of that, Corey Feldman tells Consequence. It was the Hellish Tour, but that was due to infiltration. We had people that were sent in that were spies, that were not there to be musicians, but there to cause mayhem, of course. Corey Feldman's tour, who's even ever heard of it? How did Marilyn Manson even hear of this to know Corey was going on tour in the first place? Have you heard of it? All right, whoever's watching this video, whatever it gets, 500 people, 1,000, whoever's out there watching, have you heard of that tour? 2017? Does anyone you know about this tour? Knew about it? Went to it? I'm going to bet the answer's no. According to Feldman, he has collected evidence suggesting that Marilyn Manson led an operation to successfully sabotage that 2017 tour. If it walks like a horse and talks like a horse, he says, inviting us to watch where we step. So, while Marilyn Manson was controlling these women not to talk, keeping them quiet, he was also taking the time to sabotage Corey Feldman's 2017 tour. It makes so much sense, doesn't it? This isn't the first time Feldman has publicly blasted Manson. In 2021, he accused the shock rocker of decades-long mental and emotional abuse, saying Manson has been obsessed with me for over 2 decades. He also tweeted about problems on the 2017 tour, writing, "Always caps with Feldman. The abuse this psycho hands out was known to me by the spies he sent into my life to ruin my tour, and claiming that Manson was able to manipulate my tour through these false allegations, including planting his bus driver Wade on my tour." What? What's Marilyn Manson doing with his time? He's planting fake bus drivers on Corey Feldman's tour? I couldn't have made this up. And I could make stuff up, actually. I used to write. I used to draw comics for a newspaper. I make stuff up. I'm not bad at it. But that's a pretty good one. Planting a bus driver. For what? Maybe so Corey Feldman could be late to the shows and lose some fans? Now he's offering more details about the alleged sabotage, which he says included planting backup singers who were instructed to do a bad job. And those singers listened to exactly what Marilyn Manson said because everyone Marilyn Manson comes in contact with listens to exactly what he says. They were purposely singing off key, he says, playing wrong parts, doing stuff like that so we would get negative attention, get negative reviews, and then made all these terrible allegations after the tour ended, saying that we didn't feed them and we didn't pay them and they didn't shower, just stupid stuff. So that's the stupid stuff. By the way, Corey Feldman has got a ton of allegations against him that working conditions were absolutely horrible. So is that true? Probably. Probably Corey Feldman, because he's running out of money. He hasn't been in the spotlight for decades, maybe 25, 30 years or something. Can't pay his workers, but he wants them to try to keep staying relevant. So he blames Marilyn Manson for poor working conditions, a bus driver who gets there late, singers singing off key, and all that stuff. Of course, must be Marilyn Manson. Mystery solved here. I put out an open Facebook post and said we were doing an open casting call for young females who were attractive and could play multiple instruments and that were willing to wear this ridiculous costume on stage because a lot of rock and roll girls didn't really want to do that. If you were willing to wear wigs and a halo and willing to dress like an angel, you could come and audition. So we kind of left it open to anybody. And another thing we did was open our house up to people and let them stay if they needed. So we were the perfect patsy. Except, like I mentioned, there were allegations that the conditions were absolutely horrible on the bus and at the living quarters. And the allegations are very long, well written, dozens of pages. All right, but anyway, I guess it was all Marilyn Manson's fault. When I asked if he thought the saboteurs achieved their aims, he first says, yes, absolutely, the tour shut down. Not because Corey sucks or anything, just because, Marilyn Manson. Before clarifying, it wasn't necessarily because of them it had shut down. It was because of the fact that the Me Too movement had started and there was all this pressure on me to name names, all this stuff. And this was actually when I decided to kind of freeze everything and serve the higher good. So he called out Charlie Sheen and now Marilyn Manson. But could it be that Corey is actually guilty of some things himself? Maybe. I can't personally say for sure, but I can guess. And here's the important part now. As for why Marilyn Manson would want to do this, yes, we want to know why. What's the great theory? Feldman isn't sure. Yes, he was heavily involved in trying to infiltrate that tour. I don't really know the reason. I can't tell you, other than the fact that we just know that he was behind the scenes of a lot of stuff. Like his accusers, there's no proof, but everybody just knows it was Marilyn Manson based on his lyrics and books he's written and his shock value stuff he's put out there. Must have been him. By the way, the date here is August 16th, 2022. This is the first time I've heard of this. I saw Colonel Kurtz cover this story, wanted to cover it last week, just been really busy, finally got to it. So, just for the record, it's pretty new. Let me know what you think down below. If you need a boogeyman, someone to blame in your life, you're having problems in a relationship or at a job, blame Marilyn Manson. Obviously, he's after everybody. It'll get you off the hook and keep you relevant like Corey. And if you don't subscribe here, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.